podcast said, I have a serious life-threatening disease. I was given only a limited time to live, a couple of years. My They tell me that in the meantime, my condition is treatable but not curable. And at the end of the question is, what do you have to say about that?
Mm.
So what we would have to say about that, what I would have to, do you want to start off first, Antonella?
Yeah, well, I guess what would I say about that? I would say that, um, I guess from the medical perspective, they have their, statistics and whatnot and all the things they follow, and that's all great. But I would, there's something far greater going on that they just can't explain. And I think it's really tapping into that. It's really tapping into that and knowing that there is something greater, that you are far greater than what you give yourself credit for or what you believe yourself to be. Like I said earlier in this webinar, is that we're indoctrinated to not trust our body. We're made to believe that we should be afraid of our body. But our body actually loves us. Our body is trying to communicate to us. Our body is always communicating to us. So, you know, what we're told, that's all well and good from that perspective, but there is a far greater perspective. There's, the mere fact that you're here is like, we don't even know why you're here. I mean, science can tell us why you're here, but really all the theories and all the science never actually really tells us why we're here and who we are. So we're far greater than that. Our lives are a miracle. The fact that our body operates the way that it does is a miracle. And for example, when a few years ago when I was speaking to my hematologist and said to him, many people have spontaneous remissions from disease. What do you think about that? And his answer to me was he just shrugged his shoulders and said, well, it's just biology. And so that was his understanding of it, that it was just biology. But my question is, what is biology? Really question what is biology and, really go within yourself because you're far greater than what you've been told, So really trust your body and understand that its symptoms are communicating to you, you know, are communicating to you that you haven't been living right, you haven't been thinking right, you haven't been feeling right, and with no fault of your own because we're not taught to think any differently. We're just taught to follow the system where we've been taught to go to the doctor when we're ill, take a tablet. We've never been, and not that there's anything wrong with that either, because they play their role too. But we haven't been taught to go within. We haven't been taught to ask our body the questions. But I think we're actually moving into a time now where this is starting to become more and more, make more and more sense to people that in fact the body really is the communicator of what's going on with us. And the more and more that we delve into trauma now, like, we're speaking about it a lot more openly, is that, trauma doesn't need to be like a massive thing that's happened. It can be something as small as, you know, standing up in front of the class, giving the answer that's wrong. Everybody starts laughing at you, and then you go through life not being able to speak publicly, being afraid of, social interaction or anything, that is something, small in comparison to like major traumas that can occur, but that actually gets stored in our body as well. And all of those memories and all of that trauma gets stored in our body. It's actually energy that gets stored in our body. So that energy gets stored and it never gets released. You know, and we continue to think a certain way, we continue to feel a certain way, and eventually, you keep knocking on that, you know, that that door of illness for long enough, that door is going to open eventually. And of course, the opposite is true. If you continue to knock on that door with a a wellness state of being, eventually that door is going to open as well.